But I think for most businesses, you could find a way to get creative around it. And if you think about it, it was only like a sneeze ago in the timeline of humanity that there was no social media and there were successful businesses. And there were successful businesses even in the online world before social media really started to boom and blossom. And there's lots of businesses now that are successful that are not on social media.
Welcome to Tried and True with a Dash of Woo, where we blend rock solid tips with a little bit of magic. I'm Renee Bowen, your host, life and business coach, and professional photographer at your service. We are all about getting creative, diving into your business, and playing with manifestation over here. So, are you ready to get inspired and have some fun? Let's dive in.
If you're listening to this podcast, chances are you are a creative and you probably have felt, or maybe you're feeling like this right now, that you're torn between a million creative ideas, excited by all of them, but also worried that you'll never be able to get it all done without losing your mind. Yeah, if that's you, you're not alone. But what if I told you you could build a thriving, fulfilling, profitable business without the burnout, without the overwhelm, and also without having to be chained to social media at all, if that's your choice? My guest today is Taylor Aller, and we are going to talk all about these things. Taylor is a small town girl and all about that multi-potentialite life. She is a six-figure entrepreneur, a TEDx speaker, a massage therapist, an educator, and a consultant. She's based in British Columbia, and she's the co-founder of the P2P Summit. And she's always up for something fun. She's also a mom of two little ones. And she and I met inside of a really amazing mixer mind. And I'm also going to be participating in her upcoming panel in April that I'm going to tell you guys all about. We talk about in today's episode. Taylor is bringing together a whole bunch of us multi-potentialites, and it's going to be a really amazing panel you guys are definitely going to want to tune into. When she's not balancing multiple projects or strategizing new ways to support her clients, you can find Taylor soaking up all of the beauty of the Pacific Northwest with her small family. She's got lots of great nuggets for you guys in this conversation. So let's just dive right in. Hey, Taylor. Okay, so you describe yourself as a multi-potentialite balancing lots of projects, which we're going to dig into, along with your family, your kids, all the things. And it's a lot that, us creatives can identify with. I deeply resonate with all of that. And it can also lead to burnout. So I want to just start off by asking you, first of all, thanks for being here. And second of all, I want to start by asking you how you do all this without burnout and without using social media.
Yeah. Thanks for having me, Renee. I'm so excited to chat with you. It's been so fun getting to introduce each other to each other's worlds. And thanks for having me. I do a lot of things, but if I were to boil it down into one sentence about how I do it all without burning out, because I get that question all the time, is that I don't do everything at once. And I don't do it by myself. If both of those boxes are not checked, it will lead to burnout. In my experience, it certainly has. And social media, do I have a spicy relationship with social media? I've been off social media personally and professionally since 2019. So we're going on like 6 years now. And business is still thriving. I'm still thriving. Family's still thriving. We've popped on, I think, collectively 4 times in the last 6 years to announce that we're pregnant and to announce each baby. That's it. And that's only after, of course, we've let all of our, intimate friends and family know. But it's been quite a wild ride. I'm sure we're going to pull it apart, but ultimately not doing it all at the same time and not doing it by yourself.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Because it's kind of one of the things I like to say to people is like, yeah, you can do all the things, right? But probably not at once, especially like if there's a lot of different things that overlap. So what was like a turning point for you where you realized there's a better and a healthier way to achieve my goals?
Oh my God. Yeah, there's actually a very specific moment. And I talk about this in my TED Talk, actually, where I had hit massive burnout. I was simultaneously trying to be a specialist in like 3 different areas. I was a professional level hip hop dancer. I was traveling internationally like 6 to 10 times a year competing. I was a registered massage therapist working at a clinic, practicing out of a clinic, I think like 5 to 7 days a week. I was just starting my career as an educator. I was being a teaching assistant for like 4 different classes at the college, all while trying to do this at the same time. And I recently got engaged and was planning a wedding. And we got a dog, a rescue dog that if anybody here rescues dogs, it's just a roll of the dice. And our Luna was a challenge. So anywho, it was all of it. It was all of it all at once. And I'm kind of laughing about it and poking fun now that I've had many years since then. But in all honesty, it was probably one of the lowest points of my life. I was having incredible digestive and health issues. I was having massive mental health issues. We were huge amounts in debt. It was just not fun all the way around. And I was running myself into the ground. And there was a day that I like could not physically get out of bed. And I was like, this is awful. And I don't know if anybody listening has had that moment where you've just hit the wall and you're like, I don't know if I'm ever going to be able to get up. Like, what have I done? And I knew it was all my fault, and I'm going through this shame spiral. So needless to say, I'm doing what I do to cope. And that is like falling down the YouTube rabbit hole. So I'm there with the like satisfying art compilations and like the cat and dog videos, like trying to find some semblance of peace. And I'm really having a hard time. And I stumbled across a video that had Elizabeth Gilbert. She's the author of Eat, Pray, Love, Big Magic. She's fantastic. And she was doing a talk about finding your passion, like finding the thing that lights you up. And I was like, man, like I'm sitting there struggling. Like I thought I found my passion and like I have 14 of them and like, ugh, like which one is the one? And I'm trying to do all of them and like it's not working. And I'm trying to do them all at the same time. And I'm trying to do this all by myself and I'm keeping everything separated. I'm doing quote unquote what I'm supposed to be doing. And this feels terrible. And I'm not successful. I'm a failure right now. And then she said something in that video that changed my life forever. And she ultimately boiled it down to there's two types of people in the world. There are jackhammers, which are specialists. They are people who know what they want to do from like the moment they exit the womb. And she is a jackhammer. She's like, I knew from a little girl, I just wanted to write. Everything was in the service of writing. I would waitress to write. I would do these things to write. That's all I ever wanted to do. And then she was confused, like, why doesn't everybody else have this thing? And when she was looking around her, she realized, there's this second type of person. So outside of the jackhammer, there's the hummingbird. And the hummingbird, their job is to cross-pollinate the world. Instead of having incredible depth of knowledge, they have a breadth of knowledge. They have half degrees, started businesses, international living and pursuits. And all of those people around her were those hummingbirds. And in that moment, I was like, oh my God, finally, like, that's me. I'm a hummingbird. And I was like sobbing, ugly crying. I called my husband. I'm like, babe, I'm a hummingbird. And he's like, if you're a bird, I'm a bird, like the notebook thing. And I was like, no, not quite. Like, kind of, sort of. But anyways, when I calmed down the snot enough to explain what I was talking about, he was like, no, like you're a hummingbird with a jackhammer because I'm a full asser. Like there's no half-assing allowed. I jump in with both cheeks. Yeah, Renee, you too.
Yeah.
So anyways, that was the moment I was like hitting this burnout and I realized I'm a hummingbird. And what that realization gave me really was permission to stop trying to live outside of myself. Like nothing felt right. I knew it didn't feel right. I kept trying to push through it and it just wasn't working. And that moment opened my eyes to like, wow, there's a whole other way of living. So that turned the momentum in the other direction. And I started, several year journey of finding a multi-potentialite, multi-passionate community, finding the resources, the books, experimenting with different business models and trying to structure my life, experimenting with different planning and strategy models. And I finally kind of cracked the code a few years ago now. And now I help other people do the same thing. And it's a lot of fun.
Your story is so awesome. Like I'm not awesome in the fact that you felt so terrible. I don't mean that, but
yeah.
I think that it's awesome in a way that I think a lot of us can identify with. I know I can for sure. And I've actually never heard her speak about that. Like, that's so fascinating to me because my husband's one of those jackhammer. Like he basically at 7 told his parents, I want to be an actor at 7, like who does that? And I remember when we met, we were in our 20s and it was like one of our first conversations that we had. And he was telling me this and I just looked at him like he was an alien. And I was like, okay, here I am with like my degree in psychology. I'm a massage therapist. You and I have that in common.
Yes, we do.
At the time. And I was like, and I want to do like at least 500 other things. Like, I think I want to write a book. I think I want to do this. And he was like, okay. And I just remember feeling like, am I broken? Like, why do I want to do all these things? And it's so interesting because I also have been in those places of like, a hummingbird with a jackhammer because it's all or none. I'm going to go all in. And I think what you touched on is so universal for those of us who also are like that shame spiral of, well, I didn't do it perfect. I didn't do it all the way. And so obviously I must suck. I'm a failure, blah, blah, blah. And that is a really hard place to get out of, I have found. And so I kind of want to speak to that for a second because I know a lot of people in my community are dealing with this and they may be in like various stages of this burnout and they may actually be in like physical stress burnout because I know that, it does take a toll on your body. Like you said, like can't get out of bed and your body actually can shut down. Like I'm a really big believer in that mind body connection. And I think that you are too, as a massage therapist. You see it, we do hold things in our body and the body does keep the score, not to quote the book, but it's true. So I want to kind of speak to that for a second. And I know that this is part of what you do and why you're passionate about teaching other people about this. If someone is in that place right now, right? What is one piece of advice? Like what's the first step for them in that process of climbing?
Oh, there was one. Yeah. I'm going to see if I can condense it into one sentence. I think it would be firstly, if you are in that place of burnout because you are like Renee and I, and you were that kiddo at 2 that was like, oh, I want to be 800 little things. And then that never changed, and that never changed for me either. Like, I remember at 13 or 14, it was like, okay, Taylor, but what's the one thing? Like you can't actually do 5 different things. And I was like, watch me. And I did. And it led to like burnout, right? Multiple times. But if you are in that place of burnout because you have that same hummingbird nature, you have that same multi-potentialite stress, the first thing I would suggest is to stop playing the specialist game. Give yourself permission to not be the expert and to not do it the way that the world has structured success to look like. Embrace that part of you. It is not broken. You are not broken. There is nothing wrong with you. You have the potential of many different lives, not just one. And it's more about a strategy than it is about something being wrong with you. And for me, that's what that hummingbird video changed in me. I was like, wow, there is actually nothing wrong with me. Because I felt like there was. I felt like I was flaky. I felt like I didn't know what I was doing. I felt like I was confusing people all the time. I was confused all the time. I got so many comments of like, oh, you're a lot, aren't you? Or like, what else are you doing? Oh, you didn't finish that. Oh, another thing, you quit. Like, it was like, no, 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 no. Like, I am not a failure. And how I want to live my life has to be done in a way that is strategic. And it took years for me to do that and to then finally have the success on the others, like, to be debt free, to have an income, to have a family, to have that balance. It's like, finally. And now I can go back and show all those people, see, there is a way to do it. But it started with understanding that I am not broken. It is the structure and the system for success for entrepreneurs that is only one dimensional. And I am a 3-dimensional business owner. And that means I had to do more work and craft my own way. But that didn't mean there was something wrong with me. It meant that there was something wrong with that system and that expectation.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, no, it's a really big part of it, right? Is like giving yourself permission to just be you. That's it. It's
all
really,
of you.
yes, like every piece and really embracing it. I think that's why one of my special interests is self-development, right? Because like got that psychology degree because at a very young age, I was like, what is going on with me? And how can I find out more? And so I feel like a lot of us really needed to probably hear that, right? Like give yourself the grace and let yourself off the hook too, like to be you. Also, you talk a lot about you blend strategy, right? Goal setting, strategic goal setting, specific with this intuition and flow, which are 2 things that a lot of people would think are polar opposites. But can you walk us through how you blend those 2 aspects in planning?
Yeah. I'll walk you through like the high level of it because what I do with my consulting clients all looks completely individual. Every multi-potentialite has such a unique puzzle of interests and their intersections are completely unique to them. So their blend of like strategy and intuition or gut feeling is going to be different. But high level, I look a lot, and we'll talk about this later, I'm sure, the reverse engineering part of things. But it all starts with what your values and your priorities are. Because regardless of what your interests or passions may happen to be in this current season, or maybe were in the previous season or are going to be in the next season, your values and priorities are generally pretty stable, especially your values. So I always recommend starting there. And that starts with like that gut feeling, right? It is like, what is truly important to me? If I had to narrow it down to like 2 or 3 things that I really value in this season of life, in the next 10 years of what I'm living, what would that be? Am I valuing my creativity? Am I valuing my autonomy? Am I valuing my family, my health, my wealth? What is it that I'm valuing? And really pushing yourself to narrow it down, which is very hard, to just 2 or 3 things. And that is that constant gut check, because if what you're doing is not in alignment with those values, you're never going to do it. Right. Or you're going to do it and you're going to half-ass it, or you're going to quit, or it's not going to work out, or it doesn't matter the strategy you apply on top of it. If it doesn't apply to your values, it's not going to be effective.
Yeah.
And I'm all about being effective. So it starts there. It's listening to your heart and to your gut and figuring out what really matters to you. And then building on your values, it's determining your priorities. So what is it that is a priority for you? And sometimes it's the same thing. I value my health and my health is a priority. But often if I were to look back at the last 3 weeks to 3 months of somebody's calendar, they'll tell me their values and I'll look at their calendar and I'm like, wow, none of them have been a priority. We'll see all these other things that sneak their way in there, or things you feel like you quote unquote should be doing, like social media, for example, or like these other things, and they're not in alignment. And that leads to a lot of that emotional stress or burnout, that constant fighting against that part of yourself. So that's where I would start. And then the strategy on top of that, it all kind of builds and stacks, but you need one step before the other. So start with your values, layer on your priorities for the next season. Then you really get to start to get creative with the strategies that you want to employ with the different passions you have around that.
Love. Yeah, no, that's a really big, important part because people think that they're doing that, right? Like you said.
Yeah.
I
Well,
know.
they start usually like the bottom up. They start with strategy first, and then they try to like squeeze their priorities in. And then they're like, oh, is this in alignment with my values? Well, whatever. I have the perfect strategy. And it's like, oh, no, that's not going to work.
Well, you also mentioned the should, right? Like they think that they should be like, they think maybe social media or whatever should be a part of it. But at the heart of it, is it? Is it really for you? And maybe they haven't even stopped to really truly assess like what is right for them. I feel like that's very common. I see a lot in my coaching too, is they're just sort of like doing what they've been taught or think they should be doing in order to have this. But again, like you said in the beginning, that sort of like system isn't meant for everybody. And it's really important to like step back and get that awareness of what is actually important to you, because that's where it starts. So yeah, I love that. And you have something, I want to talk a little bit about your Make It Happen planner method. Is that part of this process as well?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. That's where it starts. It's listing out those values and your priorities, and it's reverse engineering the next 4 years of your life. But
Okay.
the biggest chunk of it is figuring out your values and priorities, because like we said before, it doesn't matter what planning strategy you have or what app you're using, what tool you're using, none of that matters unless it's in alignment first. So the biggest steps and like the meatiest part of it is determining that. Then you get to build the strategy off of it, and then you get to plan it out. So it's not a scheduling tool, it's a planning tool. It is listing out those big goals, those big milestones you want to achieve in the next 4 years, because a lot can happen in 4 years, right? You could have a kid or two, you could have a degree, you could move internationally a couple of times, you can start a business or 2 or 3. Like there's so many things that can happen in that period of time, but it's also short enough where you could think back to 4 years from now and you're like, oh yeah, that wasn't that long ago. So it's a nice digestible period of time, even though it feels long. And then it kind of whittles everything down into the next year. So it starts with that kind of high level 4 years, and then you figure out your next best step. And then it keeps breaking it down from years to quarters to months. And then you get to take it to your weekly planner. And then however you want to schedule it is your business, but you'll have the plan regardless. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really similar to how I like just like I have something that I call the clarity method, and that's very, very similar to that. Is like you got to know where you want to go. You got to get some clarity on like what that is, and then I'm all about reverse engineering. I don't know, maybe it's just the way our brains work, but it really like it feels really good to me to do that, and then you can get very granular with the now when you backtrack like that.
That's
So
a perfect word for it. Yes, exactly.
yeah. So let me ask you, do you think that every entrepreneur, entrepreneur, or like every person is able to build a business off of social media right now? Like, I just want your like sideways take on that.
Every business, no, because some businesses are centered around social media, right?
Mhm.
So if I were to exclude that category or have that as a caveat, I would say that most businesses could, if they wanted to, if it wasn't centered around their niche, right? If they weren't, trying to be a content creator or something like that, where you would have no choice but to post that content somewhere, right? Or if they're being like a social media manager or something of that nature, or even a VA to a certain degree. But I think for most businesses, you could find a way to get creative around it. And if you think about it, it was only like a sneeze ago in the timeline of humanity that there was no social media and there were successful businesses. And there were successful businesses even in the online world before social media really started to boom and blossom. And there's lots of businesses now that are successful that are not on social media, right? So I think it's also being strategic with how you do that. And you can have social media be a part of your strategy. I don't personally do this, but some of my clients do, where social media is a part of their marketing and distribution channels. It's part of their funnels, but they aren't the ones that manage it, create it, or do anything of it. They outsource it, right? So there is a way to have a social media free existence or operating, but still have that be a part of your business model if that's required of you in your niche, or if you want to have that as part of your puzzle. It's definitely an opportunity there, but that by no means disregards the opportunity to just have it not be a part of there at all. Yeah. I'm evidence of it.
Yeah. And I mean, you're one of a few people that I've just recently come into contact with, and we both belong to a mixer mind. And there's a few of you guys in there who don't use social. And, I'm pretty chronically online. So, for me, that's very different. And I'm like, oh, that's so interesting. Now, I don't just rely on social media. I definitely talk about there's lots and lots of other ways, SEO and word of mouth and connection, and all of those things really, really matter. Email, I use it as part of a system. But I think it's really interesting that I've just recently come into contact with people who really, don't use it at all, like you, and are still able to build these 6-figure plus businesses without it. And I love that you're finding a way to do that. It really shows that you're just in alignment. To me, that's what it feels like to me. It's like, I mean, if social feels in alignment to you, okay, that's great. But I see a lot of people in what I do who really, really detest it, and don't want to be on. And so, and it also, I feel like a lot of us creatives, a lot of us, spicy brains, like I like to call us, we are very prone to the negativity out there as well. Like a lot of us are a little more sensitive. That can really, really start to have a negative effect on just everything. I'm a big believer that, how we feel, it's going to show up in our business. Like if you feel really negative and your energy is really low and your frequency is really low, then how are you showing up for your business, for yourself, for your family? So, if you're listening and that's something that resonates with you, I just kind of wanted to add that in, that there's a very big possibility that you can do this without it, or you can just get really creative with it. And at the end of the day, if what you need to do is outsource it, then there's a way to do that as well. There's always a solution in my mind. Like that's I think one of my superpowers is like, I
was just going to say that. I was like, that is the superpower of the multi-potentialite, is like, there is always like, just give me 30 minutes to 30 days and I will come back with an answer.
Literally, it's like, yes, I can dig into this. This is like so fun to me. Like I literally feel like it's fun and a challenge. So if you're having a hard time with that, there's other people who can help you do it too. Like sometimes you just need like somebody to brainstorm with. But I do believe that there's solutions to all of that. I want to talk a little bit about what are some of the things that you are doing right now. I want to talk about the panel that you're going to be doing in April, because I'm a part of it, but not just because of that. I think it's such an amazing idea. So talk to me a little bit about, how did you get that idea? What made you want to do this? You are so organized, by the way. Like, you guys don't understand. Like, she asked me to be a part of this and I was like, yeah, absolutely. And I mean, like, it's all there. Like, I don't have any questions. Like, you're so organized with everything.
Thank you.
How did that come about?
Thank you for that compliment. I will take that. Yeah. I haven't always been an organized person. So again, this comes with that strategy piece. When it's in alignment, it's there. But yeah, now that's all I do. I'm so organized. I think as a mom, you kind of have to be. Anyways, how did it all come about? It came about because it's the gap that I'm seeing. And I have capacity at this moment now to fill it. So I'm all about it, right? I think the journey of being not on social media, there's so many pros that come with it, right? And we can all immediately, they're right there at the front of our mind, right? Especially if, like to circle back to what you said, Renee, if you're that person that's like, I detest opening up Instagram. I detest looking at that like create a post button. I detest having to go into the DMs, like whatever that is. Of course, on the flip side, there's all those positives. I don't have the apps on my phone. I don't log into them. I don't have that time suck. I don't have that distraction. I don't feel negative about myself, my body, my kids, my husband, my house. Like I do in other ways, but social media is not adding to that, right? So, all of those pros are there, but there are cons too. And there is a big con for me, particularly as an introvert, is that I make connections with people one-on-one and really deeply. And that's why not being on social media works for me, because I get to do that. And that's a huge part of how I run my businesses. Like you said, referral marketing, affiliate marketing, email marketing, all of these different things are a part of what I do. Network marketing is massive. And then I leverage other connections too. But not being on social media, I'm missing out on that community at your fingertips of like, hey, has anybody used this app before? How do you use it? Oh, hey, does anybody have a referral connection for, this city, this town, this state, this province, this country? Oh, hey, I'm traveling over here. Does anybody have any recommendations for this, and that? It is very challenging for me to get that kind of like pulse check. I have to do a lot of effort to be able to do that. Whereas like friends of mine, they're like, oh, I'm just going to post up with a quick story. And then they get like 40 responses. And I'm like, oh my God, I have to like individually text like all these people, or I have to call these people, or I have to like toss it out to my email list, these types of things. So there's that big con. And I know as an introvert and somebody that has multiple passions, there's a lot of people just like me that are also struggling with that. And so I have two kiddos, a daughter who just turned 4, and my son's going to be 2 in less than a month. And I haven't had the capacity to fill this gap when I first noticed it. It was about probably 18 months after I went off social media is when I really started to feel that loss of community. And I was like, man, I really, really want to get back in that. But then I'm in the thick of having babies. And I was like, not right now, right? It's the whole, I can do anything I want, not all at once and not by myself. So that was that not all at once. So after my son turned a year, around 18 months, I felt like, okay, yeah, I'm back on my feet again. I finished my mat leave. I went back to, all the work that I was doing. And I was like, okay, this is good. I think I have capacity to do this year. And then joining the Mixer Mind, like we talked about, which is where I found you and so many other wonderful folks. But that really pushed me to go, now is the time. Now I'm going to do this. And I'm not going to do it by myself. I'm going to connect with all these other people that I've had the joy and the opportunity to connect with. I'm going to toss it out to these other communities that I am a part of and see who wants to join this mission with me. So yeah, it came from a gap I see that selfishly I want to fill for myself, but also the clients I work with, the people that I meet all the time, were wanting some of that deeper connection and that support to find other multi-potentialites just like us. So, having a couple panels, having case studies, showing people what this life looks like from people who've cracked the code for themselves. So I'm really excited to do it. And I'm so excited to meet some new people and to, push out of my introvert comfort zone and get to connect with a bunch of people all at once.
It's going to be so awesome. Yeah, I will definitely let you guys know about that when it comes up. But yeah, I'm super excited to be a part of it too. For all of those reasons, it's going to be so, so fun. And you're right. I'm an introvert too, which a lot of people are like, really? I'm like, yeah, no, I
know
100%. Like I can do this, but I have to do it in spurts. Right. And so that's another thing about knowing yourself. Like I really am big on that self-awareness tool. Like, okay, yeah, I know that I'm a 2/4 also in human design. I wonder, do you know your human design? Are you into that at all?
A little bit. I know I'm a what is it? Manifesting generator.
Yeah. Duh.
Yeah. Right. Everyone's like, oh, I can smell it coming.
I was like, yeah, I can tell that. No, I'm a generator, and that's a similar energy type. Like it's just that, you're the spicier version a little bit in a lot of ways, right? But it's a similar thing. But a 2/4 is really an interesting sort of profile line because the 2 is the hermit. The 2 is the one like, I got to go in my cave. I need time by myself. I need to honor the time alone because that's where I recharge. That's where I like my energy. But the 4 is community. I rely on community for literally everything. And it's like, that's such a juxtaposition. It's like the introvert, the extrovert, like, and my whole life I felt like that. Like I've been in spurts of like, oh yeah, let's go to that party. Let's do this. And I'm super excited to connect and meet people. And then there are times where I'm like, absolutely not. I do not want to go.
No, thank you. Cancel. Wow, that's so cool. I don't know if I'm a 2/4, but that resonates.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And I enjoy people, but like you said, like I don't gain energy from crowds of people.
Hmm.
One-on-one, those deeper conversations, oh, I could do that all day long.
Hmm.
And being by myself, I could do that also all day long. But yeah, as much as I enjoy being in community and being around big groups of people, it takes a lot out of me. I need a lot of recharge time by myself to be able to do that.
Yeah, for sure. Especially when you have little kids too, like you've got going on. I mean, I had three kids under the age of two, and I started my photography business when, like, I think the twins were almost five, when I really took it seriously. I mean, I was dabbling for a while, I was like still doing massage and doing photography and trying to see how I could segue into that. And being married to hyper creative. Like my husband is, he's definitely been laser focused his whole life on what he wanted, but he is like an incredibly creative person. Like he can draw, he can act, he can direct, he can write. He's a filmmaker. Like it's just all right brain stuff, right? So
Yeah.
it's a very unpredictable, sort of crazy life. So it was really interesting. Interesting is an interesting word to use, but it was interesting when my kids were little to try and figure all those pieces out. So I know, like, those of you guys who are still in the trenches with little ones, that's a big piece of it. And, making sure that you are honoring that time, like honoring those pieces of yourself. It can be really hard because you're sort of like living for the kids, right? But you really do need to honor that internal urge as well, and listen to your gut and listen to your intuition, because yeah, that's gonna lead you where you want to go. It's hard to listen sometimes, but it's very important. So if you need that reminder, that's your reminder.
Mhm.
That I wanted to chat really quickly, because that's just kind of part of the show, about this little magical ingredient I like to call manifestation, right? Like, so how do you weave that in to
Mm.
achieving big dreams and goals?
I might have a spicy take for you, my friend.
Yes.
So I think it was pre-COVID, so it was at least like 5 or 6 years ago. I was part of hosting a like New Year planning, vision boarding event. And I was doing more of the planning strategic side. And then I had somebody that I was presenting with, like she was doing the vision boarding side, and then I was coming along with the strategy side. And I remember doing the vision board and I was cutting out the magazines and I was doing the thing and I was like, oh, this looks so pretty and this is so cool. And then I remember looking around, the facility that we were at, all the different women that were there. And some of them I noticed right after finishing the vision board, it was like, okay, yeah, my job's done. Like, cool, this is what's going to happen this year. And I was like, no. I was like, no, no, no. And they were like, yeah, so bear with me while I tell the story.
Yep.
So then they're like, yeah, I'm manifesting it. That's all I have to do. I just have to sit here and think about it. I just have to look at it. I just have to put it there and like think about it every day and look at it every day. And like, that's the thing. And it's so beautiful and it's exactly what I want. And I was like, ugh, I'm out of here. I was like, this
Mhm.
is not, I was like, let me at him, guys. When is my planning time? Because I was like, no, 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 no. And so for the longest time, like since then, for years, I was like, no, I'm not about the manifestation. I'm not about that. Like, that's too woo. Like, it's about hard work. Like, no, sorry, guys.
Right.
That's not how it works out. You can't just like, have a fart in a prayer and hope it comes true. Like,
Mhm.
no, I'm not going to put my dreams on that. And then after meeting many, many, many different people, I met this woman who it was like a brief meeting, and I don't even think she remembers who I am, but she changed the trajectory of that thought. And she was like, yeah, that's only like step one of like 6 or 7.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, I know. And she's like, yeah, but it's about this and this and this and this. And I was like, oh, here we go. And it was such a good merriment of like the left and right side brain, to use your analogy. It's so much of both. And that's the camp that I sit in. So do I believe on quote unquote manifestation where you just sit and think about it? No, I don't. I think that that's a bit of a crock of BS. And
Mhm.
that's a little spicy. Feel free to come at me. But I'm like, no, it takes way more than that.
Yeah.
That is step one. It is getting clarity on like that big picture, that vision board. Yes, have that vision, paint it, make it five senses. What is it going to feel like, smell like, taste like, sound like, all of those things. Yes. And then, like you were saying before, that reverse engineering. And a lot of manifesting, I think, is about the preparation meeting opportunity. And it's not just waiting for opportunity to come along. It's doing the steps that you need to have the preparation meet that opportunity. And the manifesting part, the quote unquote, vision boarding that most people call manifesting, that is just getting the filter on to look for the right opportunities. It has nothing to do with actually finding the opportunities, preparing for them, and continuing to edit that vision as it unfolds, because that's a big part of it too. You'll often find things are coming into your lap when you've started to prepare it, and it feels like magic, but it's not. It's like that combination of both. So yeah, that's my spicy take. I am in that camp, but only with the caveat of that preparation meeting opportunity. But both things do need to be there. If you're just slogging away and trying to find opportunities and do things that way, that is such a hard way to go. And then, like we talked about before, you end up burning out because you're not clear on what it is that you want to do. And you're not aware of what it is you want to bring into your life and what you want to let go of. And you're continuing bad patterns and things like that. So yeah, I'm a big fan of both. They both have to be there.
Same. Yeah, no, I don't think it's spicy at all. I think it's a very real take. And I think it's a very needed conversation, to be honest with you, because I do think that that's why, manifestation, right? Like it's a very overused word, like mindset.
Yes.
Like it's a very like big umbrella and it's an overused thing. And it has been oversimplified online. Especially, right? But like, I'm a big believer. That's why my show is called this, right? Try to flow. It's both. Like, I believe in both of these. I'm real big into like strategy and science. And like I said, digging in and finding meaning and like, okay, well, what is like, and that was what led me down that path of like certifications that I have, like NLP and different life coaching modalities, because it's like, okay, well, what's the science behind this? Because there is science behind manifestation. I'm putting it in quotes because it really is energy and frequency. I really do believe that we have to have both. Like you just said, it's grit and optimism, right? It's belief.
Yes.
You have belief and you've got to like really believe that you can do it. But the belief alone isn't going to bring it to you unless you take that inspired action, until you put yourself in the place of being that version of yourself you envision, right?
Yeah.
It's all about that feeling. You said it, taste it, smell it, feel it, be about it. Like Beyonce says, be about it. Right? Like, so you can't just think about it. That's why affirmations just don't work on their own. Like, you can put as many affirmations up as you want on your wall, but if you don't believe them, happen. So I love that you brought that into it, because I feel like it's a very important conversation to have. And yes, I'm very woo. But also
you're both.
I'm both. And I really do believe, like, even like inside of that clarity method that I teach, like there's pieces of all of that in there, because all of these little pieces have to, like your friend says, like, that's just the first step.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. And I feel like manifesting gets such a bad rap. Like you said, like people are using the term colloquially, or they're using it casually, or they're just talking about like, oh, I'm just going to pull an affirmation card every day and I'll be a millionaire. And it's like, I hope that for you, but I don't think that's likely if that's the only thing that you're doing, and it breaks my heart to have people be swindled by that, or have other people pushing or peddling that. So yeah, I like my spicy take. I like your spicy take of it is both. It's step one of many, and it is a crucial step. It's not to be disregarded either. It's not to be thrown out, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Right. Like it's still very important to have all of that there. And I think there's a certain part of life really that is magic that we can't explain. And it is about embracing those wild opportunities that, you're like, wow, I never in a million years would have planned that this would have fallen in my lap, but it has. And I've prepared and I'm organized and I'm ready to take advantage of this opportunity. Like it's both of those things happening together. And that's where that magic sauce happens. Yeah.
Totally. Yeah. I mean, I truly, like, I wouldn't be sitting here right now, like if I hadn't opened up to the possibility of what if, right? Because like, you'd have told me when I was in my early 20s that I would end up being a photographer and a coach. And I would have looked at you like you were crazy. Like, no, those weren't even on my list of 500 things I wanted to do. Right.
Yeah.
So like, I'd have been like, no, that's not one of the many, but it happened because I think that I opened up to these what ifs that I call them, like, right. Like, well, okay, well, that kind of is scratching an itch that I really like. I'm having fun doing this. So I wonder where this is going to take me. Not even when I started taking photos, it wasn't because I wanted to start making money right away. Like I did it because it felt good. It was a great creative outlet when my kids were babies. my son has autism. He didn't talk till he was 5. And I was like so interested in what was going on behind those big eyes of his. And I was like, the camera was pointed at him constantly. And so it just led to other things along the way. Right. And so I feel like that's a big piece of it, is that follow these creative urges too. If you've got these little itches and, insights and gut feelings, there's probably a reason why they're there. And even at the end of the day, if it's not for you to make a big business out of it, it's there to serve a creative purpose, which I think is always going to lead you to some good stuff.
Yeah, that's often a conversation I have with my clients too of, is this a passion that is a hobby, or is this something you need to monetize, or is this something you need to scale, right? All of those things are very different, but they're all worthwhile pursuits. There's none of them are better or worse than the other. They are all there for a reason. And I think life is meant to be enjoyed. I think passion and following those breadcrumbs of curiosity is a worthwhile pursuit of joy.
Yeah. Absolutely. I love it. Thank you so much for being here. This was a great, great, great conversation, which I knew it would be. You've got so much to share, and I am very excited about our panel coming up. So tell people where you like to connect. If it's not on social, where can they find you? And any other information you want to drop in there? I'll put all the links.
Yeah, for sure. Well, definitely join us at the summit. Renee is going to knock it out of the park. I know it. And she's on a really stacked panel with other incredible business owners that have many passions too. So it's the Multi-Potentialite Summit. It's happening April 28th, 2025. So feel free to learn more about it. You can find everything you need at my website, which is taylораller.com. There's a contact page. It goes right to my inbox, and I read and reply to every single email. That's where I'm at. So feel free to hang out with me there. That's where I spend my time, and it's not on socials.
Yay. Awesome. All right. Thank you again so much for being here.
Thanks for having me. It was so fun.
I told you guys you were going to love her. She and I have so much in common, and I'm so grateful that our paths crossed, and I'm super excited about her panel. So you can find all the information below. I'm going to link everything for you guys, and also be reminding you as well as we get closer to that April 28th. But for now, I just want you to remember, as Taylor beautifully shared today, you don't need to sacrifice your creativity or your sanity to achieve incredible things. Trust your intuition, honor your flow, and keep building your dreams in a way that feels aligned to you. And don't forget about that strategy part. And you know where to find us if you need help with any of that. Let me know how today's episode resonated with you. You can hit me up over on social at Renee Bowen. You can DM me, or you can also email me, Renee@reneebowen.com. And of course, I would love and appreciate a rating and a review from you as well. And you can do that at ratethispodcast.com/Renee Bowen. Thanks again for tuning in. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day and week. Love you. Bye.